I'm Silas Dudley, and if you're looking to get the most out of your harvester, pay attention to the following advice. Good access to your orchard is a big help. So during the winter months, trim the lower limbs of your trees so that a vehicle can access underneath them easily. When you're done, remove all the trimmed or fallen limbs from the area. Mow underneath your trees regularly if you can. Your harvester will run much better on a well-manicured surface. Orchards that have been left to grow and have a lot of thatch underneath them will oftentimes jam the harvester. If the area underneath your trees has been left to grow, we recommend mowing in a pattern that will discharge the thatch away from the area you're about to harvest in. Typically, if you start near the tree or trees with the mower's discharge facing away from them and mow in a widening circular pattern, this will do a great job of getting that thatch out of that area. And also try and remember in time one last mow right before those nuts begin to fall. During that last mow of the season, if you notice any premature nuts on the ground that have been aborted or either blown from the trees, go ahead and collect them and throw them away. They're probably no good anyway, and if you go ahead now and get rid of them, you won't have to separate them from the good nuts later on in the season. The timing of your harvest is important. If you can wait till all the nuts that tree has to offer have fallen for the year, you're going to be way more efficient with your time, as you'll only have to pick up the limbs and blow the leaves away once to get to all the nuts that tree has to offer that year. Try to keep a good eye on the weather. We do not recommend harvesting when it's wet or when there's snow on the ground, as it can jam the harvester. And it's not a good idea to store a bunch of wet pecans on top of each other. Before you roll your harvester through an area, we highly recommend you do one last quick pickup of any limbs that have fallen and use a backpack blower to blow all the leaves out of the area. Be smart about blowing these leaves. Use the slopes and the terrain to your advantage. Try to push the leaves downhill. And also pay attention to the wind direction. Try to use it to your advantage. When I'm doing my pre-harvest prep, I like to take small bites. I'll often only do one row or maybe even only one tree. And then when I'm done harvesting in that area, I take the limbs and blow the leaves from the adjacent area that I haven't harvested in yet back onto the area that I just finished in. That way I'm not placing that stuff in the direction that I'm going, where it keeps building and building and I have to keep on dealing with it. I'm moving it behind me, so to speak, so that I keep working into fresher ground. And I'm not letting those leaves stockpile. That may seem obvious to most of you, but I wanted to mention it because little things like that can add up to huge time savings in your harvesting. A lot of people are tempted not to take the steps of picking up the limbs and blowing away the leaves, but you're going to be way more efficient with your time if these steps are taken. It's a lot like prepping before a big painting job. It's just part of the game, and you're going to come out with a way better job in the end if all the steps are taken. When moving your 42-inch Pro to the area that you just prepped for harvest, be sure that the lift wheels are engaged. That means that the lift arm on your harvester is forward or in the down position, and the tines are lifted up off of the ground, which keeps them free of any debris or trash that you don't want to get in there and waste your time separating out later. When you get into that prepped area, raise the lift arm back into the rear of the harvester and put those tines back on the ground, and you'll be ready to go. We find that the 42-inch Pro is most efficient if you configure it to pull out into the side of your vehicle. Check your quick start instruction manual to see how to do that. It's more efficient this way because it allows that harvester to get over and collect the nuts before the tires on your vehicle go over them and crush them. To make this work, you're gonna need to harvest in a spiral pattern. Start from the outside of the area that you're working and work towards the center, getting one width of the harvester closer with each lap. Now remember, that harvester needs to be mounted between the vehicle and the center of the area that you're working towards. Try to keep your harvester moving in a forward direction. Reversing the harvester while it's engaged will cause the ejector fingers to lift up out of the tine rows, and it may lead to jamming. If you do get in a situation where you have to reverse your harvester, make sure you engage the lift wheels and get the collection assembly up off the ground before doing so. A lot of times on really smooth surfaces where you can get up to a pretty good speed, or perhaps on hilly terrain, you're going to find that you need to install your baffle on your harvester to keep nuts from flying up and over top of the crates. Once you see that your crates are full, get off the vehicle and empty them either into a bulk bag or just set them aside and then replace them with empty ones from on top of the harvester. Be sure that you don't set those crates or bulk bags in the way of your harvest pattern. If you have to start moving that stuff twice, it can waste a lot of time. Whether you use multiple crates or just a few crates in a bulk bag is really up to you. Now, if I have a piece of machinery available to lift bulk bags, that's my preferred method. I'll usually run with 4 crates on my harvester and just keep emptying them into the bulk bags that I have set out around in the orchard. If my crates get full and I'm a good distance away from one of the bulk bags, I'll swap the full crates with the empty ones and I'll just keep going on my spiral pattern until I get back to one of the bulk bags, and then I'll empty out what I got. If I don't have machinery available to me to handle the weight of the bulk bags, I'll just get multiple crates. I'll just keep running that harvester, and as they get full, I'll just set them out around on the orchard floor. And then at the end of the day, I'll load them into my truck or my trailer or whatever I have available by hand, and then I'll just take them back to the barn or wherever they need to go. If you are using a mower to pull your harvester, we recommend running those blades while you're harvesting. You'll be amazed at how well you can see where you went the lap before, and so it helps you to maintain that pattern. And then after your initial pass, if you see any nuts that you missed, you can adjust your harvest pattern to come across those nuts at a different angle. And I find that if I use this technique, I can pretty much get every nut off of the orchard floor. Once you get your harvest gathered up into bags, bins, crates, or whatever it is you decided to put it into, you'll need to sort through it and remove all the unwanted debris and trash from the nuts. There's no real right or wrong way to go about this. You kind of just need to match your resources with some of your creativity depending on the volume that you're dealing with. Some folks will just take care of it right there on the tailgate of their truck out in the orchard, whereas other folks will take it all back to their barn where they've built cool little sorting tables with little fan blowers and wire racks that let all the trash fall through. And yet others have a guy with a commercial cleaner that lives down the road. However you end up doing it, when you're done, make sure to get those nuts out of the weather and into a cool, dry place until you can decide what you're gonna do with them. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope it helps you get the most out of your harvester. And remember, get your family and friends involved when you can and enjoy that time out in your orchard. I'm Silas Dudley. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about your harvester, be sure and give us a call or send us an email.